On today's show, we're going to talk with Brian from Bait Box on the Rock. We're going to talk about prepping for ice fishing. There's some things people need to really look at to make sure they're ready for ice fishing, to make it safe and a more productive season. So Brian, why don't you share some little tips and techniques of things to prep for the ice fishing season?
Sure, Dale. Yeah. So some of the first things I start out with, especially early season, thinner ice, things like that. You're going to definitely want to have a spud bar. When you're walking out, you sound that ice in front of you to make sure that it sounds. There's that certain sound, and we all know. You all know it if you've spudded enough. There's that certain sound when you hear it, you know you're in good shape. And the other way it goes as well. You hear that sound and you know you better turn around.
Typically, how many whacks do you go before you'll even attempt to walk on it?
I'm doing at least 2 to 3 for sure. And you don't want to do it right at your feet, obviously. Get yourself a nice longer handled spud bar. I don't know if I'm in the picture yet there. But hit out in front of you, like 3 feet, 4 feet if you can. That way you're not stepping on the stuff that you're testing. That's obviously not the proper way of doing that. Next, we would have, while you're walking out on that ice, you're going to want to have a set of creepers. So you can go cheap with this brand here. You get your cleats on the front there, nothing on the heel, so you gotta pay a little more attention when you're walking, and walk on the ball of your foot versus more on the heel. Otherwise, you're going to slide around still.
One thing I like throwing about these, and I've used these before. One thing you really want to check at the beginning of the year is test this rubber.
There you go.
Because I have had these break because they are cheaper, and they will snap. Make sure that they're going to hold up, because nothing worse than getting out on glare ice and your creepers break.
Right. Yeah, they will dry rot after a couple years, especially every year. And I don't always do it. I try to be religious about it, but like everything else, you're gonna forget some things. But even just putting a small thin layer of I want to say Crisco, but that's
vegetable oil.
Yeah, just a vegetable oil. Just kind of wipe it down, put a little on a rag, and just kind of wipe that down over your rubber. And that works for boots as well too. So when you're putting them away for the year, just throw a little glaze of some oil on there, and that really keeps it from dry rotting. There's this product, the creepers too, here, where it's got the chains. It's definitely more aggressive, and that's going to keep that's obviously going to keep you a lot more sturdy on the ice with a little bit more of the hardware. Another thing you're going to want to have with you is a set of the ice picks. So if that opportunity, which we hope never does, but if the opportunity arises where you need to use these, what's nice about this style here is that they actually kind of plug together, and you can wear that right around your neck so that they're always there. So in the case that you do fall through, you can simply do it very, very quickly and start to pull your way out of that cold water and get yourself to safety. So ice picks are...
And those are crucial early in the year, especially
sure,
because the ice isn't always real thick when we head out. But also it'll vary in thickness, so you may hit a soft spot and really not know it. You may miss it with the spud bar, and you may hit a weak spot. So they're very important early season.
Absolutely, yeah. You can never have too much of that safety equipment. Another thing I like to carry around, and this is for my own good, as well as if you happen to come upon somebody that has already fallen through. This is a 200 foot, no, that sounds too much. Well, I want to say there's at least 50 feet yes, there's at least 50 feet of rope inside of this bag, and it's very simple to use. You actually hang on to this part and you throw the bag. The bag is heavy. You get a lot of distance out of that, obviously at least 50 feet, because that's what the rope is, and that way you can stay away from that person far enough but still get them this bag and pull that person to safety. So another very critical part to have. It's, you know, it's small, easy to pack away. I think that's about it for. Oh yeah, so of course now over the past couple of years we've had many manufacturers coming out with the float suits. So this is a pair of the float bibs and a jacket. And you'll have to check with some manufacturers, because sometimes if you have just one or the other, it still isn't 100% safe. If you were just wearing a pair of float bibs, obviously you're going to be heavier on the top side, which may make it more difficult to get yourself out of that situation. So having the combination of the two is very important. Some other important prepping things. Obviously, it doesn't matter what kind of auger you're using, whether it's a hand auger, gas auger, propane auger, electric auger. The most important part about that auger is the working parts, and that's the blades. So just double check, make sure your blades are sharp, they're not rusted up or dulled. And I actually have a guy that sharpens blades here, so if you do have a pair of blades you need to get sharpened, you can bring them in and we'll get them sharpened up for you, as well as I carry all the manufacturers of blades. Speaking of augers, if you are fortunate enough to have an electric auger, make sure your batteries are charged. And then another very important thing is maintaining your heater. I've had issues in the past where I lit this thing up for the first time and I had flames come out about 1.5 feet above the unit, and if you're inside of a shack and that happens, that's not a good thing. So make sure you run your heater, clean it out. You know, a lot of times mice or whatever have you might get in there over the winter in your garage and build a nest or something like that. So make sure you inspect it, look at it, run it, and that way you won't have an incident where you got flames running out of there, or the opposite, you don't have any flame at all and then you get cold. So gosh, I want to say that just about does it, Dale.
So you know, these are some great tips by Brian here at the Bait Box on the Rock. If you're looking for any equipment, specifically safety equipment, get down here and get it before they sell out. Make sure you stock up on this stuff. It could be life-saving, as well as to make your time better on the water. It just makes you feel more comfortable out there, so you have more confidence while you're out fishing. Absolutely. And I hope these tips help you get ready for the ice fishing season.
Come on down with me, get your fishing line. We'll be doing all the fun things that cause us to be losing track of time. Come on down with me, grab your rod, you'll find maybe in a little bit we all gonna be doing just fine. Hey, what you doing? Got a head for the dough. Well, we don't have to slave for Uncle Sam no more.